Khan here for Seconds Out with Chris Billam-Smith. Chris, good to see you preparing for a fight. How's life?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Moved house yesterday.
All right. Stressful time?
Yeah. So what was it like? Organising a wedding, having a baby, and moving house are the most three stressful things, or something like that. So yeah, I'm getting stressed, but no, it was all good, and we're in now. So happy days.
Are you familiar with Football Manager, Chris?
I am.
So in Football Manager, whenever you have a new signing, you go to the captain and you say to the captain, can you bed in the new signing? The McGuigan's gym had a new signing in the form of Carol Talma with the buttons clicked and had to say, Chris, can you come in and integrate him into the squad? Or is that something you do naturally anyway, being the captain of the gym?
No. I mean, I'm not the captain of the gym. I think, Shane's very much the manager and the captain, I think, of the gym in terms of making people feel welcome. And as a gym, I'd say we're a pretty friendly gym. The characters in there, and Carol's been a great addition. It's just good to see him out, and obviously here in Bournemouth is added bonus for me. I haven't had to travel too far. Took me longer today because I'm living near the football stadium, and I had to dodge all that traffic and figure out my way through that. But it's nice and close to home. But yeah, no, it's Carol's a great addition.
From your eye, what did you see and how was he able to affect what he'd learned in the gym so far?
Yeah, it's one of them, it's quite an awkward opponent, the guy, a bit negative at times. He was either really negative or he was, gung-ho, and they can be really difficult opponents. But, he was stepping back well, figuring the guy out. You could see little things that it's probably I see more in the gym over his camp than tonight, because we didn't have long, but also just sometimes just under the lights and the opponent defend, and you've only got however long the fight lasted to try and show things. But he's been improving, and I think that's the biggest thing in our gym. The thing we look for isn't necessarily on fight night; it's all the work that's done in the gym, and he's been improving in the gym, and he's great to have in the gym. Real hard worker, great work ethic. Good athlete. So, excited. Hopefully he can get out again soon.
Did you do much sparring with him, given the closeness of the weights?
He was handy for the last camp. Yeah, he was in for the last camp. Obviously, being a southpaw, we had Zerdo. He did quite a few rounds with me for the last camp. But no, I haven't sparred him for this fight. It's good to have that sort of option in the gym if needed, but we try and stay away from in-house sparring where we can.
Not looking to dwell on the defeat at all. You're back in the ring against Brandon and Glanton. Looks like it's going to be another attritional affair, entertaining affair when it comes to your fights. Two good fighters looking to punch and get the knockout against each other. But what's your read on Brandon Glanton?
I've watched a few of his fights. I think it can only be an exciting fight. I think the way he fights, the way I fight, can only be an exciting fight. We've got the same record in terms of wins and losses. One of mine's definitely, arguable loss when the first Richard fight. Both of his, I think people have thought maybe he'd won them. So we're in similar situations, and he's a good fighter. It just excites me, the style that he brings.
Expectation for you to get the victory and then be back in the world title picture by the end of the year?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the aim for me and us as a team, is to get a job done April 26th, and then be looking straight back into the world titles. Don't really know what the lay of the land is at the moment in terms of if they've got fights going to be lined up, but no one's going to want to fight me right now until I'm back to winning ways. So I need to get back to winning ways.
Yeah, with it, in terms of the top of the picture, people are obviously looking to see that Zerdo versus Opataya fight. Having fought Zerdo now, how do you feel that fight goes?
Yeah, coming out of the ring, I think early, the first sort of week or so, I haven't properly recovered or watched it back with a clear mind. I maybe gave him more of a chance, but I think Opataya I think his feet would be too good for him. I think Zerdo's very attritional and very, very good fighter, very tough, smart, but the more I watch that fight back, the more I think, I see things I could have done better. But I'm really grateful for that fight because obviously I can learn so much from it. But I'd pick Jai to beat him.
I imagine you'll have a lot of interest being the two of your former opponents. You have wins over them in the form of Okolie and Riakporhe at heavyweight. Looking at that fight as a whole, how do you read that one?
Promoters won't like me saying this, but I can't see it being an exciting fight. Lawrence isn't known for excitement, but he carries great power. Richard has lost a lot of rounds, and this is what I was saying the other day to someone. I said Lawrence hasn't lost a lot of rounds in his career. Even against me, he still won a lot of rounds. So, obviously there was the knockdowns and the points that helped me on my way, but he still won 4 or 5 rounds potentially. So it's and all his other fights, even if they've been they haven't been entertaining, they've gone the full distance. He's won most of the rounds because the way he fights. Richard's lost a lot of boxing rounds in his career. He's been behind in fights and pulled out of the bag. Like since the Sam Hyde fight, he lost a lot of rounds in that fight. Tom McCarthy was fairly in control, but maybe lost a couple of rounds. Me and him was 50-50. And then Jack Massey fight, I actually thought he lost, but it was a lot of, it was a close fight, but Jack won a lot of rounds. And that's the difference with I think the two is Lawrence knows how to get the job done, even if he can't knock them out. And with Richard, I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if he knows enough about how to get the job done, and know the ways to properly figure it out, have a plan B and stuff like that. But he might have froze a bit in our fight with the occasion. But this is going to be a big fight again. Even though they're not headlining, it's a huge fight. There'll be a lot at stake, and yeah, it's a must-win fight for them both.
We've only had a small sample size of Okolie at heavyweight. It seems to be that his power is translated over. Do you think Richard's power at cruiserweight will translate over to heavy? Yeah,
I think so. I think Lawrence will just add power because he adds size, and he's kind of kept a similar style. I think Richard will carry more power, but it's whether he can land it or not, and that's the key. Lawrence isn't easy to land on. Like, I worked so hard in that camp to be able to land it, and I'd done 200, 300 rounds of sparring with him, so we knew how to land shots, but it was still so difficult. Whereas with Richard, he couldn't land shots on me, and it's just whether he can figure it out. And against Lawrence, one of the hardest people to hit clean that I've ever faced. It'll be a tough night, I think, for Richard.
I should have mentioned as well, of course, that being your fight on the undercard of Eubank Jr. and Benn. Look, we've had the 2 press conferences. A lot of news broke because of what Eubank Jr. did to Benn at the first face-off. But who do you favour in the fight between the two of them?
Don't know, really. You think if Eubank's sharp enough, then size matters. We've seen it throughout boxing history that size matters, and if he's going to have to be on it, Conor to stay with a chance, and I think they are both going to have to be on it. I think Conor's style is quite awkward, the way he moves his head and stuff, but just based on, I think Conor's last 2 fights haven't been, massively exciting or like blowout, standout performances. So I think it's a bit of a based on that, I'd pick Chris, just edge toward Chris, but nothing surprised me. This is boxing at the end of the day. Conor will be carrying more weight. He had power at welterweight. He'll be carrying more weight. And if he can keep that work rate going, who knows?
Last thing I wanted to ask you was former gym mate Daniel Dubois pulled out the fight with Joe Parker, but now it seems to be that the path for him is the rematch with Oleksandr Usyk. In the time that he's left the gym, joined Don, have you seen enough of him where he's changed his game at all that he might be able to get the victory over Usyk the second time around?
Yeah, I mean, he boxed him after he left the gym, obviously. I think it was the fight. First fight after, wasn't it, after he left gym? So, yeah, I think with Daniel, it's confidence now, and I think it's a mindset thing. He's got a great chin, Daniel. But yeah, that first, it was almost like a tiredness why he got stopped in the first fight. He expended a lot of energy, But Usyk's good at doing that and making people burn more energy than they want to. But yeah, Daniel could do it. You know, he had success in the first fight at times, and I think that confidence might help him get through like the rough patches. But Usyk is a master in the end. His mind's very, very good. But Daniel could definitely do it. But I wouldn't. You know, my pick would always be Usyk.
How does he do it?
Just in terms of, he'd have to just stick it on him, and always as the game plan with Usyk is try and use your size. But Daniel's good at, you know, his body shots were good in the first fight. Usyk really doesn't like body shots. I think we've seen that in through his career. I used to complain when Gasayev was hitting him to the body, started complaining about low blows and stuff. But Daniel's got to do that, and you know, but Usyk's so smart. His boxing IQ is one of the best in the sport, if not the best in the sport. So you got to figure out a way to land those shots. It's not as simple as like just throw punches, because it'll just make you miss, move feet, etc. So, but yeah, you've got to tire him out by nailing him, hitting him, and just hitting anything. You don't have to hit him clean on the chin. You just got to hit something. His hands are high a lot. Hit his shoulders, hit his arms, and that will naturally tire him out as well. And I think that's probably his best bet.
Sounds like the perfect game plan. Chris, pleasure to speak to you. It does feel a little bit weird being in Bournemouth and you're not in the ring, but it's good to see you nonetheless in Bournemouth. Looking forward to your fight. Thanks for the Seconds Out.